Trent and Jason here from Thunder Underground, and we're going to talk about Metallica's newest release, S&M2. It comes out August 28th. We were lucky enough to get this a little early because Jason pre-ordered the box set, and it came in on August 26th for you. Look at that. It's a nice big-ass box that, similar to their, well, not completely similar to their reissues, but it's not as thick, I guess. But
very similar to the Hardwired
there you go.
Deluxe.
Yeah.
But before we get into the real meat of it,
yeah,
you get these pics in this bag that I don't want to fucking open.
Even though it's just a Ziploc bag that's not sealed.
Yeah, exactly. S&M2, the date. The black ones, I'm not sure what they say because I'm not going to open it. The Blu-ray, which we just watched, and that's what we're going to... That was the... we're going to expound on that. CD. I just took this over. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, no, it's
whatever. The big poster, the gigantic poster in the box set. I don't know if you can get all that. I really don't care. You got enough of it. There you go. So there's that. The book. Message from Lars. All the pictures. There's some pictures. There's some more pictures. It's like kindergarten story time. Again, I don't give a fuck. Go get it yourself. Messages from Edwin Outwater, the conductor, and Michael Tilson Thomas, the musical director of the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra. What do we got? Here we go. Sheet music for All of My Hands. So if you play an oboe and you want to know how to play All of My Hands,
you're in luck.
I wonder if the kill, kill, kill part's on here.
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay. Bad joke. And then if I can pry it out of here, the
most important part.
Yeah, the most important part of this fucking thing is the vinyl. And it's, the whole thing is just this 4-part deal. It's fucking great. So
8 sides of vinyl.
8 sides. That's what it is. And the vinyl's all different colors. I'm not taking it out because that's a pain in the dick. I don't care. You know what it is. All you fucking Metallica freaks like myself have probably already got this. So that's the packages. And we just finished watching the Blu-ray. So now we're going to kind of break it down.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you mentioned conductor, and that's the first kind of thing to point out. We talked about that was talked about a year ago when the concert happened back in September of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
That for a conductor, he's pretty young. I don't know his exact age, but I would think he's probably 40s, right?
Right.
And he's a professed Metallica fan as well.
Yep.
So that kind of made this even a little bit more special than just getting some old conductor who has no idea what the fuck heavy metal is, right?
Exactly. His name's Edwin Outwater.
Like you pointed out, like he's really getting in, like jumping up and down.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What I noticed on the DVD, and I saw this in the theater back in October.
Right.
I loved how Edwin Outwater, he's jumping up and down, and not only on top of the conducting, he's just totally getting into it. Just totally getting into this project, and for me, that was on top of the 4 band members. He really he shone bright as kind of a 5th guy,
right?
And really, just his enthusiasm. It was very noticeable, and it was pretty admirable, and it was a very, a much needed element to this project.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see.
Yeah. Well, kind of one of the first things that I always thought about, I thought about this on the original S&M, is, Michael Kamen, I guess, kind of arranged all the
Right.
orchestra parts back then, and then, I think he got credit for the songs they played that were the same as the ones from the first S&M, and then I don't know if it was the musical director of this one, or was it someone else that arranged the other songs?
I don't know, because
I saw the name in the credits and I already forgot.
And that's the thing, is Michael Tilson Thomas. That's probably something we should have researched, but in short notice. But like Lars said, Michael Tilson Thomas has been with the SFSO for 25 years.
Right.
So you had to have been.
He could have been a conductor on the first one. I just forgot. I hadn't seen that.
Well, see, that one was all Michael Kamen.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Who knows? I don't know.
He could have been like a junior.
Yes, that's definitely something to look up.
Yeah, but kind of the point being on that is you just got to wonder how long that process takes to write classical music in the first place, but let alone write classical music to complement music that's already been written.
Yeah.
So that in itself's got to be a huge undertaking.
That's some brain work that I can't even fathom.
Yeah.
And it's completely fucking respectable in every way.
Right.
I couldn't even begin to get it.
Right. Well, they do a great job of making it what it was, a special event. Besides just having an orchestra there were other aspects that you don't see at other Metallica shows. This is kind of jumping into the middle, but the first obvious things were when the orchestra played a classical piece on their own, and then they brought Metallica back, and Metallica played Iron Foundry with them. Mm-hmm. Metallica playing along with the orchestra playing a classical piece, as opposed to the rest of the show, which is an orchestra playing along with Metallica music.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we had Unforgiven 3, which was, kind of a cool deal, because that's a song that doesn't get played that often. And they also did it special where James only sang, he didn't have his guitar, and no one else in the band was playing.
It was just him and the orchestra.
Right. Which gave that really a special feel.
You're damn right it did. Yeah. And it's like, it's weird. You mentioned, they did some classical pieces. They did a classical piece without the band. Then they did a piece just with the band. And part of me was like, fuck, that could have been time for a couple more Metallica songs. But at the same time, this whole project is rooted in the spirit of creativity. Right. And doing whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
And exploring shit out of the norm. So I was not surprised to see them do this. And it was kind of cool in a way.
Yeah.
I'll admit, it would have been cool to see something else, but this was just as great.
But since it wasn't a standard Metallica show, it kind of limited itself.
Yeah, exactly. This is the only time you could get away with that. So It was like, okay, awesome.
Right. We also had the upright bass solo for Anesthesia Pulling Teeth, in a tribute to Cliff, and without Rob, Rob generally always plays that in Metallica live shows.
Right.
Well, they had one of the guys from the orchestra who just did a phenomenal rendition of that.
Scott Pingle.
Yeah.
I stayed quiet during that. Because I was just kind of, what did you think of that?
I thought it was amazing.
Right.
Because it was a complete, reinterpretation of a bass solo that was written back in 1982 or
exactly.
And to be here almost 40 years later and making this piece, it was it was obvious that it was Anesthesia, but he completely reworked it into the classical format, which was easy because everybody always talks about how of a classical style Cliff had.
Right.
So I'm sure that this is probably something, as cheesy as it sounds, that Cliff would have absolutely loved as well.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's rooted in music that he loved. And like you said, Ray Burton was there, so I'm sure he felt that same thing.
Like I said, a proud father moment.
Right.
So we know that, and I agree, I echo everything you said about that. I think that was an amazing rendition. And to see it with a bow and an upright bass and to be so note perfect as the original was amazing. other than that, what was like, your other highlights?
I think, as far as newer songs, Halo and Fire, because that's always been a song from Hardwired that was one of my favorite songs on the album, and you listen to it and you can tell it's going to translate well.
Right.
And it translated really well with an orchestra. And another song that I really dug was One, and that's kind of something we even talked about recently with Jason Carroll. It's like, I don't turn off One when I hear it, but I never choose to listen to that song on my own.
Yeah, well, because it should have been
it's kind of like
rammed up our asses so much.
It's like when you hear Inner Sandman, I don't turn it off if it comes on Spotify or on Sirius or something, but I don't seek it out.
Yeah.
And to hear One and how well I can't, it's been so long since I've seen the original, so I don't know how closely, if it was exactly the same, but that One had a lot more orchestration to it than a lot of the other, classic songs did. And that kind of gave it, its own special feel, which, I love Master of Puppets, and For Whom the Bell Tolls more than I love One, but they were a little more, not straight across the board, but not as filled with the classical element,
I see.
And then, that's probably a good thing. I think I know what yours is, because you kind of mentioned it.
What?
Is it All Within My Hands?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm just waiting to see
you got to go into that.
I have. I definitely love All Within My Hands. I've loved the version they did, any acoustic version they've ever did of it. And to me, it's just such a, and it's not so much, I don't know how to explain it. It's not so much the song in and of itself, it's just the decision. Like, how did they decide on one of the most unlistenable songs on Saint Anger? One of the most horrible things that band ever did. And that's hard for me to say because I love Metallica. They're my favorite fucking band in the world. I'm on board with anything they want to do. But god damn it, if All Within My Hands, the original version on Saint Anger, isn't just one of the most unlistenable things anybody ever did. How did they decide to take that motherfucking song and make it such a, just turn it completely around into something that is, so avant-garde and so just, so listenable and important, and I just like, wow. It completely opens another door into that fucking band's creativity. Right. It's literally like discovering, it's like when we were in middle school playing Super Mario, you discovered a secret level.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, for me, I feel redeemed in that, with the background vocals and the different voicings and the instrumentation and the different arrangement. It's like that song is it's just fucking amazing. And so, for one, that, like I told you, it's the crown jewel of S&M2. I love. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and The Day That Never Comes.
Yeah, that's how I was about to go.
Okay.
The Day That Never Comes is my second. And I told you, and I've talked about this on the podcast, but since we're on this video, and a lot of people might not listen to the podcast, even though you should, I've always thought The Day That Never Comes, the minute I heard it back in 08 or 09 or whatever, like, if they ever did an S&M2, this is the fucking song to do.
Yeah.
With that middle part and all the solos and the guitar melodies and the, and they just stacked on top of each other. That is the song to do. And god damn it, they fucking did it. And that was the next thing for me. So, I know that, I'm a lifelong Metallica fan. I've been a Metallica fan, before the Black Album, so fuck off. And, but for this record, my two shining moments for this are newer songs. All Within My Hands and Day That Never Comes. So there you go. That's kind of my 2 cents.
Right. My only complaint, I think, on the whole thing is that I feel like James' vocals were lower than normal, like a normal concert. And I don't know.
You mean is it like mixing or volume? Or?
Yeah, volume. I just think that has, I figured it had to be a choice because it's no way that's going to be an accident.
Right.
If you've seen a million other live shows and and I assume maybe that was just to blend since you've got way more instruments than normal, maybe it's just to blend everything and not have his voice overpower.
Had to have been. I mean, I didn't notice that, but you probably have a great point.
Well, I got used to it pretty quick, but it stuck out to me really quick when I watched Moth and the Flame when it was released a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And then so I noticed it right off the gate when they went into, I think The Day That Never Comes, was that the third song? The first song that had vocals on it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, you get used to it and it's not even that big of a deal.
Right.
As far as the set list goes, we talked about how it's pretty heavy on newer music, but I don't have any gripe on that because they did S&M 20 years ago. They're obviously going to not have a hit set, from the 80s and 90s. It's going to include stuff from Death Magnetic and Hardwired and even Saint Anger with the one song. But so that makes sense. And of course, they had the hits in there. But is there any songs that you think would translate really well that wasn't on either one of them? Like, I was surprised that just because it was a big hit that The Unforgiven wasn't on the first one and it wasn't on this one.
Well, yeah.
And then, of course, songs like Fade to Black and Welcome Home Sanitarium weren't on either S&M 1 or 2. And both those, I think, would translate really well. And I think Orion would work amazingly.
Yeah. Well, we had that conversation, and you're right. And it's like, how was this song not on there? How was that song not on there? And Unforgiven, it seems like it's a goddamn shoe-in.
Yeah. Which I don't mind. I think Unforgiven 3 choice was amazing.
Oh, yeah. Just him singing with the symphony was fucking badass.
Right.
And I get it, and this is the one time. If you want hits, fuck off. Go see the fucking overpriced drive-in thing tomorrow. Fuck off. I don't care.
You don't know yet. You don't know the set list on that.
Come on.
They could throw some gems in there. The Outlaw Torn could be on that set.
Shit. Come on, dude. So, anyways.
Wasting My Hate could be the closing.
Yeah, my ass. Anyways, listen. But on this orchestra thing, they need to do whatever the fuck they want to do and whatever the fuck they think will lend itself to orchestra, But, I mean, I think if, and it's hard to say because, I think that I think he could have done To Live Is To Die, maybe.
Yeah.
Or I think he could have done like kind of the two non-hits on the Black Album, The God That Failed or My Friend of Misery.
Oh, absolutely.
Those would have been cool in an orchestra setting. So, but at the same time, you see what they did. And again, Hardwired was such a moment with them. It was, it was more successful than Death Magnetic, I think.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not doesn't matter. And so
but it was more well received.
Yes, it was, and they wanted to capitalize on that. So you got a lot of those, and so it's all good. And the thing is, I kind of take the, when it comes to a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of stuff with a lot of bands I wish they'd play or wish they'd done, but at the end of the day, if it's a real favorite band, I don't care.
Yeah.
I take the Henry Rollins view of like, hey, I'll play the fuck I want. If you don't like it, fucking leave.
Right.
If you're a fan, you'll be on board.
Right.
And so I kind of subscribe to that, and it doesn't take away from visually the whole thing was amazing.
Right.
And it sounded great. So I can't really complain a lot.
Yeah.
There's some things I wish they'd played, but I'm good, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe on S&M 3 in 20 years, they'll bring out Jason Newsted and play My Friend of Misery or something.
You never know when they're 75 or.
Yeah. Yeah, if they waited 20 years, they're going to be in their 70s. So maybe they'll do it in 2030, or it'd be 2029 actually, 10 years from now.
Here's the whole thing: is like in 2011, they did the whole 30 years or whatever, and
so next year's the 40 years.
And I was like, oh, so 2021 they're going to do a 40 year, and I'm going to go to San Francisco, and now that probably won't happen. So who knows?
If it's later in the year, it's
you never know. You're right.
So here's the hoping.
Right.
But yeah, so if you were at the show, hey, we've got a friend, Kevin Graham, who went out there.
Definitely.
If you're at the show, throw comments down here in the comment section and tell us about your experience or whatever.
And share it.
Absolutely. We have a podcast, as Jason mentioned earlier. If you're not familiar with it, right below here, there's some links. You can listen to us pretty much everywhere podcasts are heard. We've had on guys from Megadeth, Death Angel, Testament, Toxic Holocaust, Battlecross, Superjoint, Hatebreed, Prong, Typo Negative, Life of Agony. A long ass list. Hey, Michael Schenker right here on my shirt. We've had on Robin McCauley, who was part of the McCauley Schenker group, and Metallica are big fans of Michael Schenker. So you should be too.
Bam.
Yeah. So check all that out. Right below here also, you subscribe to our YouTube channel here so you don't miss any future videos like this. We just did one on the new lynch mob as well a couple days ago, so check that out as well. And I think that covers it. So check out S&M2 and let us know what you think in the comments.